Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our virtual meeting. Before we get started, we'd like to run over a few housekeeping items so you know how to participate in today's event. First, all lines are on mute. If you have a question, you will have the opportunity to text them into today's presenters. Please type your thoughts into the questions pane of the control panel. You may send them in at any time during the presentation. We will collect these and address them throughout the Q&A session. Similar questions will be combined, and inappropriate or offensive questions will not be announced. If you experience any technical difficulties at any point during our presentation, please explain your problem through the chat feature and we will try our best to address the issue. Lastly, we are recording this meeting and it will be available on our YouTube page within 24 hours. Please subscribe to New Jersey OAG on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Flickr for the latest updates on news, info, and resources from our office. Now I'd like to hand things off to our host and moderator for today, Chief of Staff to the Attorney General, Jonathan Garelick.
Thanks very much, and good evening, everyone. My name is Jonathan Garelick, as you heard, and I'm the Chief of Staff at the New Jersey Attorney General's Office. We're so happy to be hosting this virtual information session for people to learn more about the 2021 NJOAG Honors Program and application process. I'll be moderating today's session, and we appreciate how hectic everyone's schedules are in this world of telework and teleschool. So we will keep this session to 1 hour. Today, you will hear from the Attorney General, members of his executive leadership team, and a current honors program member. You will learn about the types of positions available in the honors program, the new to 2021 Solicitor Fellow position, the honors program curriculum, the experiences of a 2019 honors program member, and information on the application process. If we have time at the end of the session, as you heard, we will take Q&A from the audience. But to kick us off, it is my pleasure to introduce the 61st Attorney General of New Jersey, Gribeer Greywall.
Jonathan, thank you for the introduction, and thank you all for joining us for this virtual information session. First and foremost, I hope all of you are safe and healthy during this difficult time, and by now hopefully adjusted well to this telecommuting, telelearning environment in which we find ourselves. The honors program is something special for me. It's something that we instituted when I became Attorney General in 2018. And at the time I had the opportunity to go to a number of campuses to talk about the program when we were launching it. And at the time, when I was speaking to young people, I would tell them that it was never a better time to work at a state AG's office, that state AGs were never more important than they were in 2018. Now, this is not partisan to me. It was because we felt that state AGs were the ones who were really pushing back against what we thought were unlawful policies coming out of Washington. And when I say it's not partisan for me, I want to point out, you know, I am someone who has been a federal prosecutor for the majority of my career, someone who had been appointed by a Republican governor to be a county prosecutor, then a Democratic governor to be Attorney General. So I didn't come to this with any sort of partisan agenda. But what I saw in 2018 was a number of policies being enacted out of Washington that we felt were harmful to our residents. And we were uniquely situated at the time to push back through litigation. And when we decided to push back, we didn't get involved in every possible case or on every possible issue. We asked ourselves at the time 2 questions. One, is the policy coming out of Washington or the policy change unlawful? And if the answer to that was yes, well, did it affect New Jersey residents? And increasingly at the time, we continued to answer yes to both of those questions over and over and over again. And so we found ourselves with other AG's offices holding the line on important healthcare issues, holding the line on important environmental issues, holding the line on important immigration matters, holding the line on matters relating to the civil liberties of our residents. And that's what I meant when it was never more important to be in an AG than it was in 2018, 2019, and even now for those very reasons. We continue to find ourselves in litigation with the administration on issues related to the census, related to voting, and to respond to those cases, to really litigate those cases well. We needed to build out our talent pool, and that meant recruiting the best and brightest young minds out there. And that's really what the genesis was for the honors program, to go out on campus, to find the next solicitor, to find the next litigator, to find the next great public servant. And what we could offer you, and what we would really market at the time in 2018 and 2019, was that you will get unparalleled experience if you join our office. You will not be doing the document review you end up doing at big firms. You will not be doing the legal research and just writing memos that you might do in a clerkship or working on opinions. Certainly that is certainly part of the process, but you will be in court on these cases. Our honors program attorneys were in court on those immigration cases that I mentioned a moment ago. They were in court on those environmental cases, as you'll hear from Dom in a few minutes. They're in court on cases related to law enforcement reform policies, on policies focused on bringing increased transparency to policing in New Jersey. They are the ones who are doing this incredibly meaningful and impactful work. And so when I said that in 2018, it was certainly true that it was never more important to be at a state AG's office, that state AGs never were more important than they were in 2018. But I think, you know, I could say that that is the case today plus. And what do I mean by that? We find ourselves not only dealing with those issues that I was talking about a second ago, we find ourselves in this virtual setting at the confluence of two different pandemics. COVID-19 has uniquely altered the way in which we work and the way in which we study and the way in which we are living our lives. And at the same time, we're dealing with the pandemic of racial justice sparked by the killing of George Floyd in May. Millions of protesters are out there calling for deep, meaningful reforms when it comes to policing. They're calling for us to address the systemic injustices that pervade so many aspects of our lives, problems that are centuries old. And at the heart of those two pandemics, it is us, state AGs, who are leading the charge when it comes to the state's response to COVID-19 here in New Jersey. The AG's office in New Jersey is overseeing the emergency management response. It is overseeing the coordination of law enforcement functions in New Jersey when it comes to responding to COVID-19. We are the ones out there who are counseling the governor's office on the drafting of executive orders, and then defending, as you'll hear perhaps in a moment from our state solicitor, those same executive orders in court against constitutional challenges. We're the ones who are out there protecting people's civil rights, as we've seen an uptick in bias incidents against Asian Americans and others in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. And certainly we are the ones out there addressing these issues of systemic biases and injustice when it comes to the criminal justice system. We are implementing, as we speak, policies to promote professionalism, transparency, and accountability. And these are all matters that our honors program attorneys are working on as we speak. They are helping draft these policies. They are working on that litigation. They're out there helping us and participating in community listening sessions as we work to revamp our state's use of force policy, for example. So many really current, meaningful, impactful issues that you can touch if you take advantage of this program. So I really thank you for taking advantage of this information session. When I said it in 2018 that it was never a better time, never more important to be at an AG's office, I meant it. And I think it's the case now plus, because we're at the center of so many meaningful issues. And so we would love for you to be a part of it. Please get your applications in on time. Please ask us questions. Talk to the folks who've been through the honors program. You all can make an incredible difference and add so much to our office. So I hope to see your application soon. And I thank you for taking time out of your schedules to attend this informational meeting. Jonathan, back to you.
Thank you so much, General. It's now my pleasure to turn things over to our state solicitor, Jeremy Feigebaum. Jeremy's going to talk a little bit about the work that he does as state solicitor, touch on the new state solicitor fellow program that we've instituted for the 2021 honors program, and talk a little bit about the honors program in general and what individuals enrolled can expect. So Jeremy, I'm going to turn it over to you. Thanks so much.
Thank you, John. Really appreciate it. Hello, everyone who's joined us virtually, and sorry that it has to be done in this virtual format instead. But please do ask questions of us, and we're happy after we give our overall pitch and presentation on our office to really have a conversation, even if your questions come in by text, about our office, how it runs, opportunities you would have as honors attorneys, etc. We really want to make this useful for all of you. I thought I might just jump in briefly by talking about two different aspects of the honors program. The first is the Solicitor Fellow, which is a newly created position, as John just mentioned. That's going to be working with me and a deputy state solicitor on a whole range of our priority appellate and constitutional litigation, and then just talk a bit about the broader honors program. So like the AG just mentioned, my name is Jeremy. I just became the state solicitor for New Jersey, which is the state SG position this past July. And it's the first time that New Jersey has ever had a state SG role. So as state solicitor, my focus is primarily on a general set of priority appellate matters, and especially issues around constitutional law, statutory preemption, and other challenges like that. That can be both affirmative litigation and defensive litigation. Affirmative litigation where, we're talking about lawsuits against the Trump administration, like the AG mentioned, and we're challenging their decision to totally change the rules that govern Title IX on campuses. And we file an action because that has a meaningful impact on students right here in New Jersey, and of course across the country. And once we're in front of an adverse judge on the district court, and we have to figure out when to appeal, whether to appeal a PI, whether to take up a final judgment to the DC Circuit, that's the kind of affirmative casework where there's tricky appellate and constitutional issues where the team really gets brought in. But of course, we're also involved in defending a bunch of the state's most priority actions. So two good examples of what my team and I are focusing on right now and what a solicitor fellow would have the chance to focus on going forward are things like the COVID-19 response. As I think all of you are well aware, having a state essentially radically shape the rules that affect the way we all interact, the businesses that can stay open, the kinds of gatherings that we can go to, so on and so forth, raise really interesting and challenging legal questions. And the states are truly at the cutting edge of all of those issues. That work has fallen on the divisions within our department that work primarily on those issues, but also on the state solicitor and the teams that I work with. And it would very much give a solicitor fellow an opportunity to cut their teeth on some really interesting constitutional challenges. We've litigated our gatherings rules. We've litigated our closure of gyms and fitness centers. We've litigated our closures of restaurants and every other form of business. And we've also litigated the issues around our elections rules. Just tonight, a district court judge upheld a key aspect of New Jersey's voting rules for the November general election, which had drawn challenge from one of the major presidential candidates currently running for the presidency. And each time, the state solicitor and the solicitor fellow would be at the forefront of doing this interesting and challenging appellate and constitutional law work, helping this state, New Jersey, through a whole range of unprecedented challenges that we face in the real world and then again reflected in litigation in front of the courts. The same is true for the state's response to the Black Lives Matter movement. Our AG has taken pretty bold steps to help make sure that our law enforcement agencies across the state are accountable and responsible to the communities that they're supposed to serve. And unsurprisingly, some of those actions have drawn serious challenge. We have rules governing law enforcement discipline, including increased transparency to publish when law enforcement officers have been disciplined and disciplined in a serious way, to bring greater transparency to law enforcement all across our state. That drew challenge by a whole range of law enforcement unions across the state. And that was another example of a case that I and the teams that I work with, including a future solicitor fellow, have an opportunity to work with. So the thing that I think is really exciting about a solicitor fellow position is that it's a chance for someone straight out of clerking or straight out of law school, starting in a year, to dive right in on the ground floor of constitutional litigation, on appellate matters in front of the Third Circuit, the New Jersey Supreme Court, the US Supreme Court when we have cases that end up there, and really think through some of the thorniest challenges that any states are facing right now when states are really at the cutting edge of, I think, policymaking and creative litigation strategy. So I'm looking for a partner to help me with that kind of stuff, a partner who would come for this 2-year fellowship on appellate and constitutional issues, and who would be guaranteed an appellate argument during the time that they're there. It's obviously a program drawn off of the federal Bristow Fellow, for those who've looked at other kinds of appellate opportunities in the public interest. And this is New Jersey's version of that, a state equivalent to make sure that you get early opportunity to do appellate arguments, to work on appellate and constitutional briefs, really sensitive dispositive motions, with a very small team of a state solicitor, a deputy solicitor, and a solicitor fellow, all within the AG's front office. So I think it's a great opportunity for anyone who's interested in being sort of a generalist on tricky but really fun and interesting constitutional and especially sensitive appellate issues. Speaking more broadly for a second, because of course the solicitor fellow is just one part of this broader honors program, my prior role at the AG's office was as counsel to the Attorney General, where I did a lot of work on our affirmative litigation docket and on growing a number of the teams where we have honors placements. So in the past 2.5 years under this Attorney General, we've created a whole new team within our environmental unit to focus specifically on environmental justice cases. And I'll leave Dom Rossini, who you'll hear from later, to talk a bit about what that means on the ground. But that's an example of the kind of cutting edge work we're trying to do, especially important in a moment like this, to make sure that our office and the enforcement of our office is helping essentially bring a sort of comprehensive justice agenda to everyone in the state, whether that's environmental issues or civil rights issues or consumer protection issues. Individuals who want to work in our office and as honors attorneys have the opportunity to start their career as civil rights litigators. They have the opportunity to start their careers as consumer protection and data privacy litigators, to do it even in the areas of public corruption, which New Jersey may have had a problem or two historically. And so across the various issue areas that we've really prioritized, labor enforcement, civil rights enforcement, data privacy, environment, so many others, it won't be a comprehensive list that I'm mentioning. This Attorney General and our front office team over the past almost 3 years now have taken on some of the biggest cases around, suing ExxonMobil, going after housing discrimination, tackling opioids distributors who obviously took advantage and lied in the way that they distributed their product and marketed their product, going after major data breaches of information in the state. Whatever the particular topic, whatever the particular issue, a state AG's office can do really interesting cutting edge enforcement actions and affirmative cases that I think should draw people's attention, because it's a really early opportunity to get on the ground, to do the investigation, to do the litigation, to work on the brief, to argue a case across the board, whatever the issue area you're interested in. There's really good early opportunities in the honors program. I've now talked enough. I'm happy to cede my time to all the other folks, but I do just want to make a pitch to folks about the appellate opportunities we offer and the general sort of affirmative opportunities we offer. And I'm happy to answer any questions at the end.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. It's really, truly an exciting overview of the kind of work that we do, both in the honors program in general, and especially with the launch of the state solicitor position and the solicitor fellow aspect of the honors program. I next want to turn things over to Chris Edwards, who is the Executive Assistant Attorney General in the AG's office. Chris is the #3 attorney in the office, below the AG and the first assistant. And Chris is going to talk about the curriculum that he has developed as part of the honors program experience. This applies to honors program folks who are coming in under the 2021 program, and is currently implemented for the 2019 and 2020 honors program cohort. So Chris, I'm going to turn it over to you to talk about the curriculum. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to say, when you come in, you will get excellent experiences with Jeremy and Dom and the other folks in our front office. My goal is to make sure you can take advantage of those experiences. And what we've put together in conjunction with our Advocacy Institute is a 2-year program for everyone. So when you come in, either if you do civil or criminal, you will be able to do the 2-day program, which all deputies, attorney generals do. And that will get you familiar with the state law. You'll do Open Public Records Act, you'll do litigation, you'll get an understanding of administrative law and ethics, and you'll also get an appellate workshop. I think that that is important so that you'll have a foundation to grow and to become an excellent lawyer. Once you do your initial boot camp, I've set up monthly meetings, monthly brown bag trainings, with everyone in the honors program. And we will do supplemental work on appellate advocacy and litigation. And we will also, in the second year, do additional trainings. My goal is to also allow you to get a client's perspective, because I think lawyers, it's good to do the advocacy, but it's also good to understand where the client comes from so that you can get to the client's goal. And what we'll do is we'll meet with clients from your practice area. So we'll meet with someone from environmental law and someone from civil rights. The way I put this program together is the New Jersey Attorney General's office is known to be the best law firm in New Jersey. And my goal was to make sure if you get those wonderful experiences that you're going to get with Jeremy and Dom, that you also have the foundation to grow. And so I look forward to getting your applications, and I look forward to meeting many of you. Thank you for the time, Jonathan.
Thank you, Chris. We're next going to turn to a current honors program member, DAG Don Stockton Rossini. Don is a 2019 honors program member, which means that he is part of the inaugural class. Dom has hit his 1-year mark at the AG's office as part of the honors program. So congrats, Dom, on the 1 year. Congrats as being part of the inaugural class. And please let everyone know about your experiences in the office and what they can look forward to as a member of the 2021 honors program cohort.
Thank you, John. I really appreciate being here, and I really love the work that I'm doing. Again, I'm Dom Stockton Rossini. I'm Deputy Attorney General in Environmental Enforcement and Environmental Justice. My job currently is really focused on the environmental justice side of everything in my section. So for those of you who aren't familiar, environmental justice is essentially the fair treatment and meaningful involvement of all people, regardless of their race or their income, color, or national origin, with respect to developing, implementing, and enforcing environmental laws and the regulations and everything else. So for environmental enforcement and environmental justice, our focus is giving the same degree of environmental enforcement to those who are really the highest at risk. What I really love about it is it combines my love for environmental law as well as my love for helping people who need it. So we enforce in areas that are exposed to the highest risks from an environmental resource standpoint, like our major cities, Paterson, Camden, Trenton, and Newark, but also in areas you wouldn't necessarily think of, like Cumberland County and Salem County, areas that have historic and very long-going environmental issues. As working with the environmental justice, I've had the opportunity to coordinate a lot of our litigation in Superior Court. I've been following cases from our EJ 2.0 litigation, which was last October, but also our EJ 3.0 litigation pack that was just filed in August. That actually included my first complaint. So within a first year of starting in the environmental section, I have an air complaint, which means a lot to me. But being involved allows me to really be exposed to all of the areas of environmental law, from air contamination to water contamination, ground and soil remediation and cost recovery. And I have been in court representing the Department of Environmental Justice for groundwater and soil contamination cases, and I really look forward to representing them in Superior Court with that air case that I just filed in August. I really love working in my section and working with Jonathan and everyone else in the OAG. It really does give a lot of opportunity to us to be involved at the highest levels. I've done a lot of research on impact litigation, including all the stuff I've been doing on a day-to-day within my section. So I've really felt that I've had a great opportunity, and I look forward to my next year. And to echo Jeremy, please ask questions. I'm here, and if you have any questions about what it's like day-to-day working in the Attorney General's office, I've not only been there for over a year, but I also interned there prior, and I'm Jersey born and bred. So if you have questions about that too, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you so much, Dom. So we're now going to talk a little bit about the application process. And before diving into some of the logistical details about what people need to put together to send in an application, I want to touch real briefly on the 8 issue areas that we make available for honors program applicants. We're often asked what makes the primary difference between the regular recruiting that we do in our office in the Division of Law and the Division of Criminal Justice. And so how does that set apart from the honors program? And I think the clearest distinction is the targeted recruiting that we're doing for our issue areas. And those issue areas, as you heard from Jeremy and from Dom, they are civil rights, consumer financial protection, conviction review and innocence claims, data privacy and cybersecurity, environment, gun safety and gun violence, public integrity and corruption, and workers' rights and labor enforcement. Those are the areas that we hire into for the honors program. The Solicitor Fellow, as you heard, is new to the program for 2021, and you can include it as part of your application process or apply solely for the Solicitor Fellow position. But the issue areas are described on our website, nj.gov/OAG/honors, and really encourage people to become familiar with those issue areas because we want to hear from people what makes them suited for placement in those particular areas. It's not just academic aptitude, although that is certainly part of it, but we want people and applicants who are have a demonstrated aptitude in those particular areas, have a passion for working in those areas. They may have experience, whether in law school or before law school or potentially just after law school in working in those areas. But it's those issue areas and the dedicated work that the honors program cohort get placed into that really sets this apart from the other more generalized placements into the office that we seek on a rolling basis. So on the application process, the applications are open to current third-year law students and students in the final year of other graduate programs, for example, an LLM. The program is also open to judicial clerks who will complete their clerkship by September 2021. If you don't meet those criteria, we still want you. We still want your applications. We still want you to come work for us. And we have a rolling admissions, as you heard me mention, for the Division of Law, which is the division that provides legal advice to all executive branch agencies in New Jersey. We have attorney positions open in our criminal units as well, the Division of Criminal Justice, the Office of Insurance Fraud Prosecutor, and the Office of Public Integrity and Accountability. We also have Division of Alcoholic Beverage Control and Gaming Enforcement that are focused on the regulatory enforcement and licensing of those particular industries, alcoholic beverages and the casino industry. And we hire attorneys into those divisions as well. So if you or your colleagues or your classmates may not meet the eligibility criteria to apply for the honors program, we still encourage you to come visit our website, learn about the divisions that we hire attorneys into, and send an application our way because we want to hear from you. But for those who are applying for the honors program, the deadline is October 16th. So that's a little bit less than 2 weeks, 10 days from now, in fact. So if you haven't begun your application, I strongly encourage you to go visit the website, become familiar with the application process, and get that application started so you can meet the deadline. As part of the application, it is done online. Visit the website again. It's nj.gov/honors/OAG/honors. You can navigate to the online application as part of that landing page. You will complete the application. You'll provide us a writing sample, and you'll provide us with a resume and references that we can contact if we need to. You're not required to submit letters of recommendation. That's optional, but again, you do have to have references that we can contact. As mentioned with the 8 issue areas, when you complete your online application, you must select which of those 8 issue areas that you wish to be considered for. You can rank all the 8 issue areas plus the Solicitor Fellow position, or you can choose to rank only a select few of those. But you do need to provide at least one of those areas, and you do need to rank them if you're providing multiple selections. We're happy to assist any applicants who may need help completing an application online or may need an accommodation in the process. If you need any assistance, please email honors.program@njoag.gov. And that is our central email account for any questions that may be coming in about the application process, deadlines, or if you're experiencing any difficulties with the online application system. The selection process, all applications are reviewed by an honors program selection committee, which consists of senior attorneys in the Attorney General's office. Candidates are selected based on several factors, which include academic and intellectual ability, legal writing, research and advocacy skills, a demonstrated interest in and commitment to public service, leadership in school or community activities, and based on a totality of that review, we select a certain group of people for interviews. In the past, we've done them in person, but we can expect these interviews to be done virtually this year. Those interviews will likely occur in the late fall of 2020, and we expect to extend offers in early 2021, usually by President's Day weekend in February. All offers are subject to a successful completion of a background check, which is standard for our office. Honors program participants must be able to begin work in September 2021. You also have to commit to 2 years of service with the Attorney General's office that runs concurrently with the honors program period. You must, within 6 months of starting the program, become a member of the New Jersey Bar, which may involve passing the New Jersey Bar exam or wading into the New Jersey Bar. I will say that we're aware of some of the delays in application processes and bar exam procedures in general due to the pandemic. So we will be closely monitoring what the status is of the bar exam going forward. But we do, in order to become a Deputy Attorney General, you do need to be a member of the bar. You also need to establish residency in New Jersey within 12 months of accepting an offer here, or receive an exemption from the statutory residency requirement that's in place in New Jersey. So we're going to now turn to questions from the audience. I'm going to check to see if any have come in. Looks like we have one question so far. Do we have any application tips? I think in addition to meeting the criteria that I just ran down, one really important aspect that we all value as employees of the AG's office is a commitment to public service. That really, it applies no matter what position you're applying for, whether it's the honors program or not. But we really encourage people when they're sending in their applications to highlight their commitment to public service, highlight their commitment to the kind of work that we're doing in our office, and to really develop ties between their passion for the work that you want to be engaged in the office with some of your experiences, whether they're academic or extracurricular, or if you've had life experiences that connect to public service. We really encourage people to highlight those experiences overall. We're going to see if there's any other questions that have come in.
In the meantime, I just wanted to jump in with one quick thing to double up on what Dom said, because I think it's important, which is when Dom talks about having the complaint that he's doing, we're talking about real early ownership of your work. Like, that is a complaint that went to the AG's executive leadership team before it saw the light of day, and we knew it was Dom's complaint, and it was on an air issue in an environmental justice community. That's the sort of work that is important for us to make sure our honors attorneys have. It's on the kinds of cases that even the very leadership of an AG's office cares about, and particularly owned by the honors attorney. So I've worked very closely on an immigration case, for example, where we're defending our rules governing whether and when law enforcement officers can sort of collaborate with ICE's civil branches, obviously a very hot button and controversial issue. And I worked directly with an honors program attorney on those materials. And, she and I went back and forth. We were on the phone together figuring out thorny issues. So for that brief, she had a lot of ownership, just like Dom owned his complaint. The point is, across the board, whatever section you're in, you will own a filing, you will own a brief, you will own an investigation, those sorts of things. So I just wanted to make that clear, because I think that's an important thing for folks to do, whatever you're looking at early in your career, to make sure you get some ownership and leadership. And that is something we will promise here.
Thank you, Jeremy. That is a hugely important part of what we do here, and what we want people to know coming in. I do see two other questions that have come in. The one question, is there any chance for rotation through several of the honors areas? And the answer is yes. Part of what we're looking to accomplish through the program is to give people an experience that they really can't match elsewhere in state government, and that is the ability after your first year, your first assignment, to take a mobility assignment either through one of the other honors program priority areas or potentially within one of the client agencies that we control within our department. For folks who may not be familiar with the structure of our office, for example, the Division on Civil Rights, which acts as a client for some of the affirmative civil rights work done by the Division of Law, that Division on Civil Rights is located within our office. And for individuals who may have a desire to work within the client agency for 6 months, 9 months, or a year after completing their initial 12-month rotation, they have the ability to jump in and get an experience working within the agency and seeing exactly it is how the agency processes complaints and takes enforcement actions. Other examples would include the Division of Consumer Affairs, which has a similar enforcement function for consumer issues. So we do allow for folks to take mobility assignments in that way. The next question is, do you have an estimate of the number of candidates that we intend to accept? That's a difficult question to answer up front. It's a good question, but one that's going really to depend on the number of applicants we receive and the quality of the applicants that come into us. The first year of our program in 2019, we accepted 5 members into the honors program. Our second year in 2020, we welcomed 8 members. We would expect the honors program cohort for 2021 to be somewhere between 5 and 10, but we really will depend on the number of applicants and the quality that comes to us. The next question, how do we evaluate how applicants have leveraged their prior experiences as early legal field professionals? I can start that answer, but if Jeremy or Chris want to jump in as well, as some of the work that you've done with the honors program, folks, feel free. How do we evaluate? We want to see your connection to the type of work that you are telling us that you're interested in by applying for the program. As mentioned, you're going to be ranking your desired placements within our 8 issued areas, and we want to see and we want to read how you connect those experiences to those areas, how you connect those experiences to public service, and connect those experiences to the work that we're doing in our office.
I think that's a great answer, John. I guess I'll just sort of, give an example. There's folks who at various stages of their career, whether it was internships that they did during law school or it was something that they had done when they were clerking after, had some sort of demonstrated commitment to a particular issue or a universe of skills that they brought to bear. And we made sure that that was basically a key part of what they got to do in their time in our office. My computer froze a little then, so if you had trouble hearing me, let me know, other panelists. But folks who had federal background had opportunity to work on those cases. Dom had brought to bear his environmental experience and got to work on some of the issues he'd really focused on before. So, we certainly in the application process, like any other application process, assess what your experience is and your demonstrated commitment to public service. But then once you're here too, we also try to help you both expand the new skills that you want and sort of make use of your demonstrated background to kind of dive right in. We expect to be hiring sort of self-starters who want to dive in on tough projects, interesting projects, cutting edge issues, and own things. We are really looking for people who like to own their work and move and drive forward an important case or investigation or agenda or brief, what have you. And the prior work that you have and bring to bear will help you sort of dive right into that.
Thanks, Jeremy. I think that's perfect. And I'm sorry, I think the Attorney General has jumped in and I think wants to jump in here as well. So, General.
One aspect of the program that I wanted to highlight in particular was the ability to do criminal work. And I think that is something that sets apart this program. There was a question about rotations earlier. You can rotate through the program and rotate through different areas. For example, if you want to work on gun violence related issues, you can certainly work on the civil side with us doing the investigations that we're doing to hold people accountable using our civil tools. For example, we went out there against distributors who were selling large capacity magazines into our state in violation of our state's laws. And we worked with our Division of Consumer Affairs to hold them accountable and to enjoin them. But you also have the ability to work on criminal investigations if you wanted to address the issue of gun violence in our state that way. And I think that is something that sets this program apart and is in fact rare to have somebody right out of law school, somebody who is in their first public service position, actually do criminal investigations and stand up in court on criminal cases. And one of the 2019 fellows is doing just that, working on public corruption cases and actually working on criminal investigations and going to court and making arguments. And I think that is an experience that you will not find anywhere else. And you'll learn very quickly if you enjoy that type of work. And if you don't, you have other options to pivot to if you want to make a difference in that particular area, for example.
Thank you so much, General. I see we have one other question, it looks like right now. In the statement of interest, do you suggest we emphasize our life experience, why we want to work with the New Jersey Attorney General's office, or both? So this person's clearly done their homework, so thank you for logging onto the website and taking a look at all of the different kind of FAQs and documents that are required to be uploaded here. In addition to the writing sample and resume, we do ask for a brief statement of interest on the applicant's desired placement in the program. And the answer to your question is that we want to hear, really both of those things. We want to hear your life experiences. We want to hear how you can tie those experiences to the work in our office and the work as a, public servant in general. A couple more questions have come in. How do we weigh law review participation? That is, that's a good question. That working on law review is, a demonstrated aptitude to your writing ability and your aptitude in general law school. And we would encourage folks who are applying, who are members of law review, to of course highlight that and to, highlight some of the work that they may have done on the law review that may connect to the work that you're interested in doing in our office. There's another question, as a recent 2020 graduate, is there eligibility if you're not in a judicial clerkship? So if you are a 2020 graduate, but you're not enrolled in a clerkship or some kind of post-law school fellowship program, you would not be eligible for the current honors program. You'd be certainly welcome to, and we would encourage you to apply for some of our rolling applications in the Division of Law and the Division of Criminal Justice and the Office of Public Integrity and Accountability. But the 2021 honors program is eligibility is for individuals who are in their third year of law school or in a clerkship that ends in September 2021, or a similar fellowship or post-law school degree program. Is there a residency requirement to live in New Jersey? And yes, there is. There is a residency requirement for all employees of the state of New Jersey, which includes the New Jersey Attorney General's office. That residency requirement requires individuals to establish residency within 12 months of beginning work as a state employee, or to receive an exemption as part of the process that's set up through the residency program. The next question I'm going to kick over to Chris Edwards, because I think it's perfect for the work that he is committed to the curriculum. Can you please describe any opportunities to partner with a mentor as part of the honors program?
Absolutely. So I've been in the Division of Law or the AG's office for 12 years, and we've always I've striven to give folks mentoring opportunities. And so during our times when we'll meet once a month to discuss the curriculum, I'd be happy to partner any of the potential honors folks with a mentor, because I think that that's important. And if I can circle back on a question from earlier, folks that come in with different skill sets, that's all right too. Our goal is for the curriculum to make sure everyone has the same amount of information, to give everyone the same baseline. And I would also say that in addition to working with Jeremy and Dom and the general and other folks, our goal here is to make sure the honors deputies are successful. And so another opportunity, a few of the opportunities we have as well are we have moot courts. So Jeremy talked about the appellate arguments and opportunities, but before you do an appellate argument, you will certainly get a moot court where you can make your argument to seasoned professionals. And for those that like to mix it up in litigation, you'll also have an opportunity as well to do some training programs, CLE type programs where you can go and do a deposition and you can go and do an argument. And that's all to make you better as a lawyer. That's our goal here.
Thank you, Chris. I'm not seeing any other questions come in, so I think we're going to head towards a wrap up here. I want to remind everyone of the application deadline, which is October 16th. So you have 10 days to go and get your applications in. If you do have any questions, please feel free to email honors.program@njoag.gov. Please visit the website nj.gov/oag/honors so that you can learn more about the program and complete your application. I want to thank everyone, once again, the panelists for dedicating their time, especially the Attorney General, to talk about this honors program that we're so excited to discuss today and receive applications for. And I want to give a special shout out to the technical team that is working behind the scenes here, Kelly Lucas, Whitney Lewis, and Tara Camp, for keeping us all working in this telework environment. So with that, I'll turn it over to the AG for some closing remarks. General, thank you so much for your time, and turn it over to you.
Thanks, Jonathan, and thanks for participating to all the panelists, and thank you all for joining us and taking some time to learn about this program. I can't underscore what an incredible opportunity this is for not just young lawyers, but any lawyers to join just an incredible team. You've met a number of those team members on this virtual call, but I think one thing that you don't see, which is, I think, one of the best parts of this institution, is how collegial it is. You know, we are a big institution, but we are a supportive institution. There is mentoring. There is the type of back and forth that Chris talked about. When you're mooting each other, you're helping each other out, prepare for arguments, get ready for big cases. It is just a terrific environment. Having worked in a number of different public service jobs, from being a federal prosecutor in multiple offices to being a county prosecutor, and now having the privilege of running this office, this is by far the best collection of public servants that I've ever had the privilege of working with day in and day out. And we are making an incredible difference here in people's lives, not just in New Jersey, but across the country. And I will just leave you with one final experience, which to date is one of the most meaningful experiences that I've had since becoming Attorney General, and happened pretty early on in my tenure. When I became AG, a number of other AGs were already involved in litigation to stand up for Dreamers all across the country. California was leading the charge in a particular case, and other states were leading in a different place. And we were facing a lawsuit brought on by a number of Republican attorneys general in Texas that sought the immediate end to the DACA program. And it was a lawsuit against the Department of Justice, and we felt, rightfully so, that the Department of Justice would not argue that case as it should, would not stand up to defend that program. So we intervened as a defendant in that particular case. And we were only 5 or 6 months into this job, the team that we brought in and the people that we had put in these different positions. But one of our lawyers, Rachel Weiner-Apter, who now runs our division on civil rights, got involved in that case. And we flew down to Texas with her. And I got to see her stand up in court in Texas and talk about Dreamers who would be affected if the DACA program was rescinded. I heard her make impassioned arguments about the lives that would be uprooted in New Jersey, the 17,000 plus Dreamers in New Jersey, the countless others who were DACA eligible. And she talked about the human cost of it. And then I saw other lawyers get up and make technical legal arguments. And I left there not knowing which way the court would go. But I felt really encouraged by seeing Rachel and the rest of the team made up of lawyers from across our department, because we did not have a litigation section or the capacity to make these types of cases before we got here. This is something that we are building, and the honors program is a big part of it, and Jeremy's position is an even bigger part of it now. But we left there having done something. Flash forward a couple of months later to the Friday before Labor Day, we got the court's decision in that particular case. And the court denied the preliminary injunction that the state of Texas and other states sought. That's just one example where we got involved in a case where lawyers, young lawyers, such as yourselves and others, were working on a case that made a difference in people's lives. That's the type of work we're doing, whether it's on environmental issues, standing up for the rights of residents in Newark to clean air and clean water, or Camden or other parts of the state, or pushing back against those who might sell unlawful guns and gun parts and large capacity magazines into our state, or other litigation that we're bringing. We're doing it to improve the lives of our residents. We're doing it not just to push back against what's coming from Washington, but also to push forward our vision of a fair and just state. And I would love for all of you to be a part of this effort, and know that if you join this office, you can truly make a difference in people's lives. So thank you for your time this evening, and we hope to see your application soon.